She's bold.
That doesn't warrant a happy face.
Brash.
That's what you're elected to sit in that chair for.
And outspoken.
Bravo! Bravo!
This week we feature Senator Malama Solomon as she tours her district during the legislative recess. Speaking before a group in Papaico, it didn't take long for Senator Solomon to hear a familiar complaint.
It's sad that I hear this because our problem in Hawaii, statewide, is that the state never ever did have a game management control program. When we say game, we mean overall game. When they say game, they only pick on the underlings.
Hunters, upset with access and state rules limiting opportunities on Hawaii Island, voiced their disapproval.
And one way is to bring the kids back. We're losing it. Is to get them in the program where hunting, it's survival, our historic, what we had in the past. Let's bring it back and get the people, ohana, like you said, involved.
They're not happy about eradication efforts either, which are mandated by the federal government to preserve critical habitat.
And the reason for this is because when the federal government comes into the NARS program and declares these critical habitats, which they've just done in Kona, which is approximately 1,800 acres, and Maui, almost 40% of the island, what happens is that the federal government can issue these requests. Well, it's more than a request. They can issue and tell you that you have to eradicate the ungulates. Ungulates are anything that has 4 legs. That's cattle, that's sheep, and that's the pua.
It's something Senator Solomon has heard often during her Talk Story series.
If you look at the budget of DLNR, the federal government now is comprising more than 50% of that budget. So the federal government's attitude is this. I don't have to tell you, you do it our way or take the highway. So it's whether or not the state of Hawaii has the political will or the wherewithal to tell the federal government, take the highway. We're not going to do it your way.
Solomon cites a long list of issues where federal government regulation is impacting life in Hawaii.
Simply because we started the sanctuary during the Ariyoshi administration, we had 1,000 whales. We're up to 20,000 now. It's going to get to a point, and I'm not being an alarmist, I'm just being real about it, is that it's going to affect of how we can use the water, our channels. Now, reason why is because if there's a boat collision, right now, because the federal government has the upper hand, you're wrong no matter what.
As Solomon later explained to us, it's all about home rule.
It's impossible to taro farm if you cannot get an exemption from the Clean Water Act. And this is critical. And I brought this up many, many times. And I think Representative Nakashima brought it up in his presentation about the harbors. So my feeling has always been, because Hawaii is unique as our, our tropics, our water state, we need to get these federal exemptions so that, when it refers to corals, and I'm just talking about in the areas of where the harbor is located, because no matter what, those boats, those ships got to come in, and service us. And we can't be delaying these projects, because as we're delaying, it's costing the taxpayer millions and millions of dollars more. And now it takes 50 different permits. EPA, federal, state, county, the list goes on, that these departments have to jump through in order to get any meaningful capital improvement project done. So to me, these are issues that we really need to weigh in on, because these 50 permits are costing us millions of dollars to get to where we want to be and delaying us for 6 to 10 years. So, these are challenges.
But home rule goes both ways. Although Solomon seems sympathetic to Hawaii County when it comes to certain home rule issues, the District 4 senator has stood in opposition to a recent law passed in the county to ban new genetically engineered crops from the Big Island.
And I want to talk about agriculture. In the Constitution, it says the state of Hawaii is responsible for agriculture. Now, if Margaret Whitney, Brenda Ford, because she came to my meeting in Kona and challenged my positions. If the county of Hawaii now wants to regulate all of this, pay for it. Do it. How are you going to do it? Do you know how much money is involved in regulating pesticide use? Because the GMO question is really pesticide use. Although people fail to look at it that way. Because the GMO seed is more tolerant and resistant to pesticide. Bottom line is we're living in the tropics. You cannot farm unless you have some kind of pesticide, even if you are organic farming. Yeah. Okay, so let's all start talking real.
At the legislature, she tried to support an attempt to overrule the county with a change to the state's Right to Farm Act.
You know, and this is all going back to the Constitution. Even in the federal side, yeah, there has to be some kind of accountability of the expenditure of those taxpayer dollars. And the agencies that are responsible are the agencies that are expending those dollars. So, you know, I'm just speaking also in support of the federal government. You know, they have a mission of how to expend those dollars, and they're accountable to be sure that those dollars are spent for those said purposes.
Tomorrow, more on what, at this moment, seems like a stalled effort to overturn the county law at the Capitol, including a failed short-form bill that prompted Solomon to speak out on the Senate floor.